Would you like to get a band 7, 8 or 9 in your IELTS speaking? Or perhaps just improve your English fluency? Well, in this video, I'll be modeling some great native speaker answers to common IELTS questions. So please, come and join me. In this mock IELTS speaking test, I will be playing the role of a candidate from Italy, Valentino. I hope I said that right. And I will be modeling some great native speaker answers so that you can improve your IELTS band score and your English speaking. Remember to take advantage of this video, pay attention to the language I use and my native speaker pronunciation. So, if you're ready, let's get started.
Can you tell me your full name, please?
I'm Valentino Mariotti.
And where are you from?
I'm from Italy and I live here in Milan.
Can I see your identification, please?
Yes, here you are.
Thank you, that's fine. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I work as a business consultant in the banking sector.
And why did you choose this career?
Well, I did a business studies degree at university and I enjoyed the finance subjects of that course. So I thought a job in banking would offer me an interesting and varied career.
Where do you see yourself in this profession in the future?
To be honest, I think I'll continue to work in the same sector because I enjoy it and it's what I've specialised in. But at some point, I'd probably like to move into a managerial role, maybe in about 4 or 5 years' time. Right now, though, I'm happy with the work I'm carrying out and I want to focus on gaining more experience.
Let's talk about daily routines. What time do you usually go to bed?
Well, during the week, I usually go to bed around 10:30 or 11 o'clock because I have to get up quite early for work. And if I have a late night, I usually feel tired the next day. I also like to read at night, so that's another reason why I like to get to bed early. However, at weekends, I usually go out in the evenings with my wife, and so I get to bed later, and then I usually have a lie-in the next day.
Do you do housework every day?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I make my bed every day, and because we have breakfast and dinner at home, there's always some washing up to do. However, my wife and I do most of the household chores, like washing and ironing the clothes, sweeping the floor, and cleaning the bathrooms at the weekend, because that's when we have more time to do it.
Do you allocate some time to relax every day?
Yes, I try to. I often have to work quite long hours, and so I make an effort to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week at lunchtime in order to keep fit. I also like to sit down in the evening with my wife and watch a film or an episode of a TV series. And as I said before, I also like to read at bedtime. For me, it's really important to do something in the evening because it helps me disconnect from work and unwind.
What would you like to change about your routine in the future?
Well, if I could change anything about my routine, it would probably be the time I have to get up in the morning on weekdays. At the moment, it's around 6:30 a.m., which I think is extremely early. So I'd prefer it if it were around 7:30 instead.
Now let's talk about concerts. Have you ever been to a live concert?
Yes, I have. In fact, when I was younger, I used to go to a lot more concerts than I do nowadays. I still love live music, but I had a lot more free time to go when I was a teenager and a university student. Not only to concerts, but also music festivals that lasted the whole weekend.
What do you enjoy about seeing live music?
I think what I like most is the atmosphere. When you go to a concert, there's a real sense of excitement and anticipation before the group or singer come on stage. And it doesn't matter if you're in a small or big venue. When the concert begins, there's so much energy in the crowd with everybody dancing and singing.
Are concert tickets expensive in your country?
Generally speaking, I'd say yes, they are. In particular, if we're talking about a well-known international band or singer. I suppose it's because it costs them a lot more money to come and play in another country. For example, the last concert I went to, the cheapest tickets were over €100 each. On the other hand, if it's a new band, just at the start of their musical career, then usually the tickets are either free or quite cheap.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
So here's some paper and a pen to make some notes and here's your topic. Please don't write anything on the booklet. I'd like you to describe a team project you've taken part in.
Describe a team project you have taken part in. You should say what the project was, how long it took you and the other members of the team to complete it, how you and your partners finished it, and explain how you felt when you worked as part of a team.
All right?
Yes.
Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. When I was at university doing my business studies degree, I had to take part in many team projects, and perhaps the one I remember best, because I enjoyed it the most, was an IT project I did with 3 other classmates in our final year. The project involved going into a local company and identifying a process or a task that was being carried out manually and then come up with an IT solution to computerize it. What we identified was that the company didn't have a very efficient stock control system. So we suggested that a database would be a more efficient way to do things. I think it took us a couple of weeks to design a database solution, and then about another 2.5 months to write the code. This phase was quite slow because only 2 members of the team, a colleague and I, really knew how to program. And because of this, we asked the other 2 to write the documentation for the database. But finally, we had to help them out with that as well. To finish off the project, we had to do a presentation to 2 people from the company and 2 of our university lecturers. In the end, I did this because the other members of the team were more embarrassed about speaking in public. And also, I think, because I knew how the database worked better than anyone else. And about how I felt, I found it a bit frustrating on occasions, mainly because not everybody did their fair share of the work. But overall, I'd have to say it was an extremely positive experience. I think I learned a good deal about group dynamics, as well as how important it is to have people with different skills and strengths on the team.
Thank you. So, how important do you think your contribution was to the project?
As far as I'm concerned, I think I made the biggest contribution in terms of how much time I dedicated to it and how much work I produced. I'm pretty sure that without my efforts, the team would have struggled to get the project finished on time. Unfortunately, the extra effort I made wasn't reflected in my final mark because every member of the team got the same. At the time, I remember feeling that this was a bit unfair.
Thank you. Can I take the booklet and the pencil and paper back, please? Thank you. We've been talking about a team project you have taken part in, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. So let's consider, first of all, the importance of teamwork. How important do you think it is to be able to work as part of a team?
I think it's absolutely vital. I mean, all companies nowadays expect their employees to be able to work as part of a team, because successful teams are what give them their competitive advantage over their closest rivals. I've read that many of today's successful companies, for example Google and Microsoft, place much more emphasis on teamwork than individual effort. From my point of view, working as part of a team creates a kind of synergy that isn't possible when you work on your own. I think this is the reason why so many companies are keen to encourage it in the workplace and organize staff training in order for their people to be better at it.
What personal qualities do you think are necessary for teamwork?
Well, as far as personal qualities are concerned, I think reliability is extremely important. By this, I mean someone who works to the best of their ability at all times. The rest of the team can rely on them to do the job properly, meet deadlines, and produce high-quality work. I also think communication skills are essential. Good team players express their ideas honestly, clearly, and constructively. This implies that they also respect the views and opinions of others, whether or not they agree with them. They don't criticize or ridicule the contribution of the rest of the group. And I guess flexibility is also a key factor. If the situation changes, then the team needs people who can be flexible and quickly adapt to new circumstances or roles within the team. Instead of complaining or getting stressed out, they can deal with changing conditions.
And do you think individuality can be useful for teamwork?
Yes, I do. I mean, in order to be able to collaborate effectively with others, I think people first need to feel free to be able to put forward their own ideas, no matter how impractical they may sound. And this requires individual thinking. I mean, no two people think in exactly the same way. And so each individual member of the group can help the team come up with a wider variety of ideas or solutions to a given problem.
Let's go on and think about children and teamwork. How can children learn to collaborate with others?
Well, at school, I think teachers can set up classwork and projects to be done in groups rather than individually. In this way, children have the opportunity to work together, which involves learning to cooperate and negotiate with each other. The teacher can also give the children feedback on how well they did and encourage them to think about how they could do it better next time. And likewise, in the home, parents can make their children aware of all the household chores that need to be done and allow them to collaborate by doing tasks appropriate for their age, such as making their beds, keeping their rooms tidy, and setting the table for lunch and dinner. In this way, they're learning some basic life skills which they will need when they become adults.
In what ways can children and teenagers benefit from being part of a team?
Well, being able to work as part of a team is an essential life skill nowadays. So if children can learn this while they're young, then I suppose it becomes easier for them to do this as they grow up and face different and more challenging situations. They learn that by collaborating with others, they can achieve both individual and group goals. Another benefit is that it involves interacting and communicating with other children. And so they quickly learn how to express themselves more effectively, as well as learning how to listen and respect the contributions of the rest of the group. I think this can really encourage shy or quiet children to speak up more and have more self-confidence.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you. Have a nice day. So, there you have it. How did I mean Valentino, do? What score would you give him for part 1, part 2 and part 3? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and remember to hit subscribe and the bell below so that you never miss the opportunity to improve your IELTS bound score and your English fluency. I'm David, thanks very much for watching and I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. So until next time, keep practicing.